Hi, I'm Geoff Johns with DC Entertainment and writer of the Green Lantern comic book. Bringing Hal Jordan the Green Lantern Corps to the screen has been amazing to witness here in New Orleans.
3, 2, 1, action!
Throughout the production, I met the many talented people behind this film, and I'm psyched to show you what they showed me as part of this Maximum Movie Mode. So let's check it out. I'm with Ozzy and Guanzo, who is a guy I talk to all the time, actually.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about Green Lantern stuff and the details of it. Now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty.
Yep.
Really enjoy talking to you about this stuff because I know you love it and you're...
Oh, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
You're all into it. And why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do so everybody else knows what you do?
Well, everything starts with the research, and the director and the producers and Geoff and everybody is always looking to make the movie as loyal to the comics as possible. So that's what we try to do here, and it all starts, with the source material.
And you put together this massive book of all the Green Lantern Corps.
We did, and early on when we found out that we were going to be doing all these creatures, they tasked me with putting together a list of some of the most popular ones.
That's cool.
And there's some favorites in there too, that you'll recognize. That are close to your heart, probably,
yeah,
like Moro.
Yeah, very close to my heart.
And what else?
Hanu's very close.
Hanu,
yeah, great character.
Green Man.
Do you have a favorite?
I kind of like Moro's pretty cool. Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, Crypt Keeper. He's cool.
It's a rich history of 50 years, or more. So, it's great to pull from that.
I'm here with Reynolds, who of course is the Green Lantern, which is awesome. And I got a million questions for you.
All right, let's go.
I really enjoyed seeing you become Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's going to love it. So I know you're a big fan of comic books and the genre and everything, and the stuff you've done in the past.
Yeah.
So why'd you decide to do Green Lantern? Why Green Lantern?
Well, Green Lantern, of all the comic book properties out there, was not something that was on my radar in terms of the character that I'd ever play. But it quickly got on that radar when I met Martin Campbell, and a movie like this, a character, I was familiar with the character enough to know that it would be kind of a technological feat to be able to do it. When I met with Martin and I saw what it was that he was planning on doing, and I saw the art department, and I met with Dion Beebe, and I met with Grant Major, our production designer, and Nyla Dixon, that is what really kind of pushed over the edge for me, because I saw that they were, on a technological level, able to achieve the creation of this world. And then beyond that, I just love the character. I mean, I loved that it was this, archetypal kind of male character that I haven't seen in a while, and I've always likened him to that guy that can, throw a punch, tell a joke, and kiss the girl. And it was something that is of a bygone era, but is still sort of, because of that, is kind of fresh in this genre.
The spacecraft in the comic books, it's a full-on, massive, great big spacecraft. And going back to alien design, we wanted to give an exotic stamp to it, of course. But, there's any amount of space movies with ships that look like big buses or sea liners or something like that, but I wanted to sort of break out of that a bit and really bring in something that's eye-popping. So we decided on this vertical shape. So when Aben Sur is at the controls of this big ship, he's in a vertical cathedral, I like to think. So it really gave us a space to do this action sequence with Aben Sur in a vertical space that's kind of different, I thought, than sort of through horizontal spaces.
All right, I'm in the art department for Green Lantern, the movie. Behind me, behind that door, are all the secrets of the film, how it looks, what Grant Major, the production designer, has been working on for the last year and a half. We're gonna get him and take a walk through the real Book of Oa. We need him because it's locked. I love the holograms here.
Yeah, we're still working on that. It's still sort of work in progress in a way, but I mean, I see it sort of fritzes in and out where the signal gets a bit disturbed. So we're just designing this way of maybe these dots it's formed and then it dissipates and then it sort of comes back again into his face. Ideas to do with that.
That's great.
we're doing here is escaping, getting away from the baddie, the big parallax yellow fella. He's on my tail, so I've been given my directing instructions. Agony, breathing, but still in there.
I'll go up and do it from the top.
Survey nearest sentient planet. Just another moment in this comic book jigsaw puzzle.
And I love this here, this cockpit. The thing I love about this is that Abinsur's never really had an iconic ship in the comics. It's just kind of generic.
Yeah.
You know, it was never really
Right.
designed like like Superman's rocket or something. So
Right.
to see you get this in detail on it is awesome.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find any comic book icon that doesn't have a complicated past, but he definitely does. He's not short on that at all, and he comes from a complicated family. And I think his humor also serves as a bit of a defense mechanism too. I mean, Hal is a guy who's a little rudderless when we first meet him.
Daredevil thing is kind of a defense mechanism too.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the guy is putting his life on the line in ways that are disturbing, I think. You don't find that this guy's heroic or anything the way he's doing it. It's somewhat disturbing. You know, you see that this guy either has a death wish or he's just really interested in pushing things well past the limits. Yeah. You know, he's got that Chuck Yeager thing, you know, that I don't know what that ability is, but it's just to stick with something and push it, you know, so far beyond the realm of reason. You know, and somehow each time walk away.
There are things that you just can't really emulate. You have to get the actors to do it, like the effect of gravity, how a body behaves in tight turns.
Bogey at 12 o'clock, and now!
Hal is greatly affected by the death of his father, which is in the origin story, as probably most Green Lantern fans know. And of course, he has this fear. He has a fear inside of him that he won't admit to anybody, and always his way of dealing with it is to simply deny it. And he's just a, irresponsible young man who's a pilot. Devil may care, just doesn't take any responsibility for anything, shoots from the hip, and just simply that's the way he lives his life, sort of, on the edge, but more importantly, totally irresponsible, doesn't really care, is the last person in the world that should actually be chosen as a Green Lantern.
Carol Ferris is probably one of the greatest female characters in comics. She is Hal's boss, she's an authority figure, she's a pilot herself, which I absolutely love. The thing I always found fascinating by Carol was that she wanted to be a pilot so badly, but because her father ran Ferris Aircraft, and he eventually was stepping down, she had to step out of the cockpit and step into an office. And I think if Hal's too irresponsible, she's almost too responsible.
She's known Hal her whole life, and he was her first and only love. So they're always butting heads, you know, they're very competitive with one another, which is great to play as a female because a lot of times you're the damsel in distress and the superhero gets to come in and sweep you off your feet in your pretty little dress. But she's going right at him, she's challenging him. She's pretty impressive.
This is probably one of the most iconic scenes in Green Lantern comics, Green Lantern history, the crash site of Abin Sewer. When you envisioned this scene, why did you set it in the water?
It's always been drawn in the desert, hadn't it? Which is sort of an iconic thing in a way. And you know, we did a bit of soul searching about, you know, whether it ought to be in a desert. But because of where we're filming this in New Orleans, there's no deserts here. You know? And rather than make it in the studio, we thought, well, what have we got? I mean, this is also near Coast City after all, and so New Orleans has got plenty of that. So this is actually Lake Pontchartrain, in fact, this location. But thought it'd be kind of cool landing near the water, but it was Martin who decided to put it in the water, actually breaking through the seawall here and actually kind of being in the water itself.
When I found out you were cast, the first thing I did was get on Twitter and
Yeah.
and I was psyched. Yeah, I was psyched. I think that's exactly why you're perfect for Hal Jordan, is that you embody all those things, and the fact that like we're on stage and you're coming up with lines that kind of make him more Hal Jordan. I was super impressed by that.
Oh, thanks.
And not just like one line, but all these. That was cool as hell.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, that's part of the job. I mean, if you can do it, you know, that's you want to be able to bring, you know, I always call them just alternates. You know, when I'll go through a script and write 5 alternates for every, you know, every line of humor, you know, sometimes not just the funny lines, other ones too. But I think you got to have that. You have to have that ability to kind of shift the tone quite quickly in a movie like this, because it is very serious stuff and it's very dramatic stuff at times. But then you also want to be able to keep, you know, at play with that environment. And I think the fans of this character and the fans of this genre are going to dig that.
It was a fan too. Is like obviously a big, huge Green Lantern fan.
You are the Green Lantern fan. There is no fan above you. You are it.
Yeah, the Green Lantern fan, a Green Lantern fan. The scope of this stuff that we've been seeing, especially these last, you know, the last few weeks of filming, and everything is coming together.
It really is.
It's blowing me away.
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting here doing this interview right now. We're on day 100 of shooting this movie, which is a long time. It's the longest shoot I've ever had on a film, but it's completely warranted. It's really occurred to me recently, and we talked about this the other day, but the scope of this movie is so epic. You have everything. I mean, you have space travel, you have Earth, you have humor, you have drama,
you have dog fights.
You have dog fights, jet fights, you know, alien fights, the gorgeous girl, the love story. I mean, you know, all of that.
And the family drama, which I loved. I saw some stuff with you and Jack, that confrontation, which was, for me, was heartbreaking.
Oh, cool.
It was awesome. And then I found that this film, and as you've played it, you bring the humor that's naturally to you. I think you're just a funny guy, but also you're tough. Yeah. And Hal's got that. But when the chips are down, it's badass. Like,
yeah, it's such a beautiful thing. I mean, we all have our finest hour when we're able to overcome our fears and carry on in spite of them. You know, and that's something that is the, I suppose, the tagline of the quintessential Hal Jordan journey.
So let's go around the other side. Let's go around to Ron. The ring I know went through dozens of designs I saw, and eventually I was really happy it landed on the classic ring with the symbol, so you can get those great shots of how, you know, firing it, you really see the Green Lantern symbol there. So I know that went through a whole circle of designs.
It did, yeah. We're quite wedded to another design before this one here, but it's like going back to basics, you know. I mean, that's what we expect to see. We expect to see the symbol, and it's kind of more butch as well. I think, you know, it's got this great presence to it. I think that given it's, you know, obviously the ring's quite small, it needed to have quite a powerful shape to it.
And this is what makes me the most crazy as a fan, is seeing the Green Lantern actually visualized. And you guys did such an awesome job at it. So where did you start here when you thought about the Green Lantern? Because this is the most iconic piece, next to the ring, of course, of the Green Lantern.
We've gone through a lot of different designs for this to come up to where it is here. And it came to a point where we really wanted to give it more mystery and history as well, you know, and make it feel like it's got this exotic alien sort of thing to it. By bringing in some motifs that we could put onto the ring as well, and then onto the central battery, try and trace all these, the sort of similarity to the design and architecture of it all the way through. So, you know, we made it out of glassy, obsidian-y sort of thing, because when it lights up, it's got to, you know, it's got to light up in its core.
I'm here with Drew Petrata, prop master on Green Lantern, looking at probably the coolest prop I've ever seen in my life, the Green Lantern. Two versions here, right?
There are. There's one that's battery operated for when he carries it around, and one that's plugged in so it can get much brighter like it is now.
All right, cool.
The idea is it always has some sort of a pilot light going on it, and when the ring gets close, it explodes with power.
I love that it's got all these cracks and you know, the intricate detail you guys put into this thing.
Yeah, each one of them has a crack on one lens.
That's cool.
Too.
There's been through war and back. It's really awesome, really awesome. So let's talk about rings. I know we were talking about the symbol and how the symbol has to be this way, so when he's got his fist out,
yes,
you can see that symbol, you know.
Yeah.
I put it on, but I think it got stuck last time.
Try the larger one.
Oh, larger one, all right. In brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light. That feels really damn good. I mean, this is fantastic stuff, Drew.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're making everybody really happy.
I hope you guys have a good time with it.
Yeah, we are. Cool, and that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. So we're out. Okay, let's talk about another big piece of this movie. Some of my favorite characters in comics, the Guardians of the Universe, oldest living beings, created the Green Lantern Corps, but you guys are taking them to a whole new level.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be modeled fairly traditional, and they're going to be handcrafted, hand animated, because the facial structures are so different than a real human being. We chose to go not the performance capture route, but more just a hand animation route. I think the trick there too would be, they're very stoic, so they're not super expression based. So I think that will be the trick there, is to convey that. That sense of incredible wisdom. And
lack of emotion.
Exactly, and not make it look like it's just dead.
Yeah. The thing I love about the Guardians is that they've buried the emotion so far deep within them, yet they have their soldiers wield emotion as their weapon. There's something cool about that. I think
that's interesting.
Yeah. Are they a little afraid of emotion? Are they a little afraid of what emotion can do to somebody?
I think they are. I mean, isn't that the point?
That is the point,
they're
yeah.
definitely afraid of fear.
Yeah, they're afraid of fear, and then since they're afraid,
at some point they're actually like afraid of confrontation.
Yeah.
Or I mean, at least how I've been introduced to it, because they've been talking to, Sinestro, and Sinestro's like, "What's going on?
Yeah.
Get off your ass. Let's fix this. Let's do something." And they're just.
I think they're afraid to tackle it because it's one of their own. Because, it points back to them, and it's also my favorite flaw about the Guardians is that they've buried emotion so deep that I think they forget why they started the Green Lantern Corps in the first place. Hector lives a life of fear. He's a very much introverted, timid character who's beaten down by his father in the film.
When I first was approached about it, it was with Martin and Donald, and they basically told me how great the character was. And they told me the setup of the movie, and Martin took about 45 minutes and explained the whole thing to me, including Hector. And he kept saying, "I really think Hector's a fantastic role." And I mean, of course, I didn't believe him. He kept saying something interesting too, which is, he said he's not really, in my mind, he's not the bad guy. And since there's no other obvious bad guy that he was talking about in his plot, I assumed that that was bullshit also. And then I got sent the script, and I saw that there was just so much to play with. In terms of the character, it was just like, choose your own adventure, and I really saw that there were like 50 different ways that I could think of like that to play this guy. And to me, that's always interesting. It wasn't too prescribed. I knew that I could just pop all over the place.
I'm outside the largest soundstage used on Green Lantern. Let's go inside. Yeah, I know. Doesn't look like much now, but this is a massive set of the underground lab they brought Abinsur's body to. Pretty impressive stuff.
The underground bunker is probably one of the biggest sets I've ever worked on. I mean, I just couldn't believe the scope of that thing. That was when I realized how big the movie was when I could actually see a tactile set right in front of me, something you could touch, feel, and move about in.
We try to kind of think of new ideas about what the secret underground government autopsy room might be, So I thought, well, who's to know how big an alien is? They might get an alien that's the size of a whale in there, And so you want to be able to study that just as much as a microbe. So, we sort of upsized everything. And the MRI was really just to bring this whole place to life with lighting and movement and things.
It's unbelievable. I thought, this is where all the money went. It's like being inside of a pinball machine. It's incredible. I mean, I want to know where it's going after we're done. I kind of want it.
Yeah, that thing was incredible. We just destroyed it. I mean, we just beat the hell out of this big, beautiful set, and it was great. It was great to work in there, in that space.
The biggest iconic element of Green Lantern is when he holds up the battering charges ring and says, "In brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light." It's an oath that embodies exactly what the Corps is.
The first time Hal says the oath, I don't think he even realizes he's saying it. The oath is drawn out of him by the lantern. It just sort of comes out of his mouth, unbeknownst to him. And then throughout the film, I think the oath starts to mean something to him, and he starts to understand what that oath is. But it's a kind of an iconic moment, you know, when I say the oath the first time. And it's a little nerve-wracking, too, because this is something that a lot of people have grown up with, and a lot of people, you know this oath, you know, inside and out, and suddenly somebody's saying it for them in 3 dimensions, no less. It's a kind of a big moment, so yeah, I definitely handled it with kid gloves.
Right here we have the body, autopsy body of Avon Sur. His character is played by Tem Morrison. Tem was gracious enough to fly here to New Orleans so we could body cast him as well as live cast his head. Well, the first step was live casting Tem, generating a body cast for him, reproducing his body in clay with an armature inside that would support the weight of all that clay. The second step was starting to incorporate the alien anatomy into that clay body cast of Tem, and then just detailing the sculpture to the point where it looks like the illustrations that we were given, what Avon Sur looked like. So we're going to mold this, split it 2 parts, and then we're going to reproduce it in silicone so we have a silicone body of Avon Sur for the autopsy sequence.
This is one of my absolute favorite things because a green fist created by his ring is so iconic. It's like he used to do that all the time in the 60s, and every once in a while, you know, we do it today in the books. And the constructs in general, I know, are still an ongoing challenge for you and for everybody. Is this the greatest challenge in the film?
It is. It's going to be the signature of the film in a way. It's like the Transformers like robots and the Iron Man suit. I mean, I think that the construct is going to be the most memorable thing for the audience to take away with them. But we wanted to sort of tie in the willpower energy to it, and you know, and the fist in this sense, the first construct we see of sorts is like raw energy, unrefined, and in a way it's just straight Owen willpower. So you know, we try to trace the development of that through Hal's kind of training and experiences and things like that. So he becomes like a master at it in his own way, hones it and all that sort of thing.
This is more instinctual then.
This is it's instinctual. It's just like he does it just without even thinking about it. You know, bam.
A big challenge was getting the colour green. If it was too yellow, it looked like some sort of Mountain Dew commercial. Too green, it looked like 7-Up. It had to be something which had a weightiness to it, a sort of seriousness to it, but it had to be evocative of the comic book. You know, we're very much trying to follow the comic book legend and the look of the character.
You don't want too lime green, you don't want too dark green, you don't want too blue green. The thing is just, and it's by eye, and I think we've got it right.
DPs usually avoid green as they light their characters. So what you see in a graphic novel or a comic book, like how does that play across on film and look real and not hokey is actually a very big challenge. Because a lot of times in the comic books, the lanterns are kind of have this green outline. And we can't completely go there, so we have to come up with something a little more edgy and cool.
And still remain true to the...
And still remain true to what you want.
It's a balance.
When Hal arrives on Oa, he goes through an induction process, and part of that induction process is giving him the suit. And the suit is created by the ring, and the suit really is a suit of energy.
In an almost sort of surgical way, on his arrival, he is placed in a space where his body and his brain and all the internal motion of this human being is studied. The ring is chosen, Hal Jordan. Now, what is it about this Hal Jordan? They look at this body and this brain inside out, and from that, the quality of the suit is determined. You know, like what are the characteristics of this human body?
for Tomare, and obviously you're inspired by the comics here.
Yeah.
He was the first Green Lantern that Hal ever met in the comics beyond,
Yeah?
Beyond
Right.
Earth. So it's really cool to see him play such a big role in the film. What was your inspiration? Because in the comics he almost looks a little goofy, in the original appearances, and it's been refined since. But here he has such a great alien look about him.
Yeah, well, look, he's bizarre. He's got this great out there kind of look to it. And again, backing into your designs, because he's got this fin. And we just imagine it coming to life, like as he talks, this little fin would go, as like a fish would, And then as he gets angry, maybe he's just got a little bit of this discoloration sort of through his ears and his fin and around here. Like if he gets angry, maybe he changes colour a little bit like a chameleon,
This is like a massive piece of comic book lore that's been around for decades coming to life for the very first time, which I think is the most exciting thing about Green Lantern. It's never been done. It's never been done like this. So you get to go into the best, in my opinion, mythology in comics because it is so rich and deep, and you get to bring it to life.
Yeah.
So that's super exciting. So what was your approach on Oa?
Well, look, I am privileged to be able to have this as a part of the design job, on the film, absolutely. Oa, being an eternal city, wants to break away from the sense of being one architect or one period style and one culture. To me, it's Oa must be like a UN of space in a way. Like it's full of all sorts of different races of people, with all their own sort of engineering and cultural sort of input into it.
I know that I took Aaron Sims' base and started to evolve that. Played with body types and facial features and details, but then it came down to final skin color and trying to get that perfect chicken-lizard skin hybrid.
This is something I tried really hard in the comics when I tackled Green Lantern Rebirth to do, is that every Green Lantern had their own signature. So you can see clearly that every Green Lantern has a different energy signature, very specific to how they think and operate and what their willpower means to them.
Yeah, I think it's as individual as their costume in a way. Like you imagine that the raw energy that we saw earlier on from Oa has to be channeled and refined in its own way through each individual person. So, with all their own culture and their own kind of sensibility to this whole thing. So, Tomaray's look of energy is different to Kilowog's and different to Sinestro's and co. So.
This is a massive undertaking, probably one of the greatest pieces I've seen, I think. It's just the complete assembly of the Green Lantern Corps. When you learned there were thousands of these guys that you had to tackle,
Yes.
There's a selection process.
There is.
Yeah,
it's a huge kind of thing to design up 3,500 people. So we did a sort of a selection of about 25, which we're putting a lot of work into. And they're the ones that'll be closest to camera, you could say, and then they'll be multiplied beyond that. But we've had a huge amount of fun thinking of how that's going to look.
Now, when you selected the guys, did everyone throw in their favorites, or did you go through the books and just pick them out?
Well, to be honest, we went through the books and picked out the ones that appeared most.
Oh yeah, cool.
So hopefully that's the right choice for you.
Yeah. Well, the ones I saw were fantastic.
What we did was we took the 25 strongest characters, or the most common characters in the comics, and we had those all modeled.
It was challenging to create the 25 core by the sheer number of them.
This is my favorite alien Green Lantern, Kilowog, next to Sinestro, of course. The expression and the design and like the inspiration from the comics and what you've captured and made real to me it's something I've loved Kilowog since I was a kid. So seeing him like this and brought to life is kind of breathtaking.
We didn't want to diverge too much from the comics, of course, because everyone knows him, and he's probably the fans' favourite, you know. And so we needed to recognise him, obviously, and as well as being a superhero and the sort of sergeant major of the Green Lantern Corps, he's also this kind of lovable guy in a way, you know. So we tried to, you know, as well as making him heroic and tough and sort of weighty, he needed to have a sort of a kind face in there somewhere. So, you know, we went to a lot of trouble to sort of, you know, think of the sort of expressions that he might have, and, you know, to bring his face to life. But also, you know, he's I guess he comes from a planet with a lot of gravity, is what I'm thinking. You know? So he's kind of, he's got this big kind of solidity to him, you know.
With Kilowog, because he's so alien, we wanted that movement to be just created from scratch. We didn't want to actually take human movement and then tweak it. So we made that decision early on that we weren't going to motion capture. So what we did is, we did need an eye line, or we needed someone to act with. We needed someone to fight with. So we cast somebody big and Kilowog-like, and then put them on 2-foot lifts to bring them up to that 9-foot height. That way, Ryan and Mark would have somebody to act and fight with, but their movements weren't used. They were not mocapped.
Because of the nature of the constructs, we had to make sure we allowed for the framing to obviously accommodate like a jet engine or a machine gun.
And Sinestro.
Yeah, Sinestro, you know, he's, again, we've stayed very close to the comic designs as much as we can.
Yeah.
But again, like getting an actor in there, getting sort of flesh and bone in there, so it's great. So we have extended his forehead a bit, just like, you know, as is drawn. But this is Nyla Dixon's designs for this. But with Mark Strong, yeah, he's got a very kind of distinct look to him.
Yeah, very regal.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, always stands up straight.
Yep.
Doesn't ever seem...
He's in command.
Yeah, very in command. And very silently judging everybody.
Yeah.
You know, at the same time.
In the mythology of Green Lantern, Sinestro is, I think, truly Hal Jordan's mortal archenemy. But in the beginning, in our film, he is at this point a Green Lantern still, and probably the most powerful Green Lantern when we meet him. These two are very contentious. Hal and Sinestro do not see eye to eye about anything. In fact, Hal is just the opposite of Sinestro. Hal doesn't fall in. Hal, you know, resists authority, and you know, all of these things that really concern Sinestro about this choice to bring this human into the Corps.
He is militaristic in the way that he operates. He's totally committed to the cause. He can be very arrogant, very dismissive of people who don't step up to the plate. So in that sense, he's a very hard taskmaster. But it's all done for the right reasons. It's done because he genuinely believes in the Corps and what it stands for, and in peace throughout the universe.
I was really concerned how I was going to make a leather jacket cool, but I love this jacket now. You know, like we worked really, really hard on it, and Libby, who is the textile artist, assistant designer, you know, the breakdown and the aging and everything and the graphic, I just think it worked out really well.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's one of the iconic, you know, that right
Exactly.
there. You got to have that.
I know,
Yeah.
and you know, I sort of went back to the Vietnam era and wanted something that was just really grunty and simple and not over-designed to have on that front.
Yeah. Perfect.
That was that one. So yeah, that was a challenge, and I think it worked out pretty damn well.
Here's another one of my favorite characters from the books, Hector Hammond, who turned out, I thought, between Peter and everybody designing him and working on him, turned out better than I think anyone will expect.
Obviously, the comic books, some of them have his head sort of gigantic, and we went there for a while. But you know, at the end, I think bringing it back to something you can believe in, and I had to try and create a sort of a logic to, you know, his head's expanding. Why is it expanding, and why, and how does that relate through to Parallax and Krona? You know,
Well, he's starting to transform into a Guardian, right?
Yeah, he is. And
Yeah,
yeah. Well, he's to a Guardian, and then to whatever Krona's become.
Yeah.
His eyes kind of light up in the books, but kind of there's something else in there. You know, is he lighting up from the inside, much the same way as a lantern lights up from the inside? There's some sort of power that's in there.
That looks a little bit like Parallax's face almost.
It is, I think,
books,
in a way, he is, you know, and by extension, he's going to become Parallax, I guess.
Yeah. I'm here at base camp for Green Lantern. Super excited, even though it's 4 hours before crew call, because that's how long it takes Mark Strong to get ready to be Sinestro. Let's check it out. I know you're used to some prosthetics and makeups from other films, but this is by far in a way the biggest transformation you've ever had physically.
Yeah.
Does that carry over into the way you're approaching Sinestro?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think as an actor, you're always helped by costume, whatever accent you use. And I have to say, this is probably the most kind of fundamental change you can make to yourself, changing, you know, the shape of your face, your head, the color of your skin. When the whole process is finished and I go back to the trailer and get ready for the day and have a look in the mirror, you know, you're snapped into that character about as successfully as you can be.
I really love the idea of the emotional spectrum and going to the Guardians and the emotional spectrum. Their technology is to collect emotion, and they focus for the Green Lantern Corps on willpower. So they collect all the willpower. They believe in that, yet they don't have any emotions themselves. They're really devoid of emotion. They've kind of buried it deep down out of fear or something. So when you were approaching the Guardians, what was your first thought?
The fans of the comics know these characters. You know, Ganthet and Appa and these people have had to be in there. We knew that they were Malthusians, that they are as old as the Big Bang. They go way, way, way back. So you try to get this sort of eternal thing to them.
In your mind, do they ever leave the thrones?
I think they do, yeah. I mean, they leave the thrones to go and make the yellow ring down here, but, you know, maybe the next films will be out there.
I love this scene in particular because it does delve into the emotional spectrum and the dangers of tapping into other emotions like fear. And much like the comic books where Parallax and the Yellow Impurity were within the central power battery, you guys have put it kind of underneath the central power battery.
Yeah, the writers wanted to sort of divide it out so we could see it in itself, you know. And we've got it in this hidden vault, like we hide fear in ourselves, you know, it's tucked right away somewhere. So I had it sort of behind the sealed chambers, like the Guardians have sort of sealed that off. And Krona at some point has had to go in there and through the seal into this chamber where just approaching is enough to sort of bring it to life, and this fear which is contained within the symbol sort of reaches out and envelops him, you know, and from that moment on it's too late for him. So he's got it in him, you know.
In Secret Origin, the book I wrote, I introduced a emotional backstory between Carol, Hal, and Hector when they were older. They were all working at Ferris Air, and Hector was actually a consultant for Ferris Air. In the film, they actually went back even further and had them know each other as children.
Hector's kind of a societal pariah in a way. He's this, you know, guy who lives in a laboratory day in and day out and lives in a kind of fantasy world, and I think he's very covetous of Hal and who Hal is, and yeah, I think this eats away at him, and it's somewhat insidious in his life.
There's just sort of some distant connection to the world. You know, people that I know better than I know a lot of other people, but not that I know particularly well, and I certainly hold a candle for Carol, you know, but for me, it just happens to be this girl that I knew from when we were kids, and she's grown up, and I've always just liked her.
Hector is the third wheel. They've all grown up together. This senator was best friends with both of our fathers, Hal and my father, and he was just the kid that, you know, was always nose in the book, shy, awkward. His father was never really supportive, so he never really nurtured him to become this interesting, offbeat human that he was. And, you know, Hal and Carol were very similar and very athletic and very strong, and you know, they clicked. And so Hector grows up watching this, and you know, he has a thing for Carol, but since his world is so small, it never really develops beyond that. The way we ended up playing it was that, you know, she hasn't seen him in years and she doesn't really recognize him, and the longer he's alone, the longer he's driven mad by his father's disdain that he didn't end up like Hal.
So that sets up a dynamic between Hector, Hal, and Hector's father, where Hector despises his father and, of course, finds an opportunity to put his father's life in jeopardy. And he takes that opportunity.
Okay, so here we've got Ferris aircraft. Huge, and I know Lakefront Airport was kind of refurbished to be the facade of Ferris, but all this had to be created.
We looked at a lot of different ideas for this beat in the film, this big action sequence, and we're looking at boats and we're looking inside hangars and all sorts of places. But at the time, we weren't sure that we were going to be able to get this side of this building. But as it transpired, they finished the restoration of this beautiful 1938 Art Deco airport building just in time for us to be able to take it over and put our set down the front. So we decided to make it the 75th anniversary of Ferris Aircraft and the celebration of this new deal that they've made to sell the UCAV to the DoD.
And it's the first time we see Hal Jordan in public become the Green Lantern.
It is.
I love this
reveals.
construct.
Yeah, it was part of this this whole action sequence. He's got not only does he sort of come out as a Green Lantern, he also comes out in the most spectacular way by creating this gigantic construct to save his friends from being crushed underneath a helicopter. So, yeah. There's no mistaking that he's arrived.
Yeah, I love too. It's at night, so it really just boom.
Yeah.
It's going to shine green up over everybody.
Yeah, we're able to really spread ourselves out here too, which is good. Bring in these old aeroplanes and kind of make a real thing of it. Yeah, and the new one.
These signs are everywhere. This is the prosthetics department for Green Lantern. Let's check it out. Hi, I'm here with the prosthetics team on Green Lantern to look at crazy Hector Hammond stuff and talk to them about this process. It was funny because this morning I was actually writing a Hector Hammond scene for the comic book, so to be on set and see it and then come in here and see how you guys are taking it to the next level is awesome. Obviously in the comics he's gigantic and you guys bring reality to that. So tell me about the process of what you're doing and how you're doing it.
I guess I've been responsible for the Hector stages, so I'll talk about them. Tough call with Hector. You got a guy with a big head, right? And how to make that not comical, how to find that fine line between camp and organic, and marry it into something that's, when you see it, it's not going to be funny. You know, it's got to be a little horrifying, and I think we achieved that.
It was taking a lot of the artwork that already existed and interpreting that and making it in the real world so that you look at it and you go, wow, this looks really cool.
We also had to test the weight issue with these heads, you know, because you can't have, 40 pounds of silicone just, on top of some guy's head. So we had to come up with some things to lighten it so he wouldn't need to see a chiropractor every day.
Here, let's grab one of these heads. This is with a lot of foam, but still feel how heavy that is.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
When I was in Halloween one year, my mom made me a Frankenstein head, kind of like this on a paper mache. It was not comfortable. This is a lot heavier though. Very cool. This is pretty gross.
A souvenir for you. Actually, there's a whole shelf of souvenirs.
Those are used ones down there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They're like used pets.
They look like
Those are pretty awesome. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Okay.
This is great.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You did.
Yeah, great work too.
Yeah.
It's just been awesome. Thanks for bringing it to life.
Thank you.
One thing I absolutely love that you, I know you spearheaded was the idea that the uniform isn't going to be fabric or leather. It actually comes from the ring, so it's completely CGI. So why did you go that way?
Sometimes it's quite a good thing to be well away from the influence of everybody else when you're starting to think about it. So I was alone in my studio in New Zealand, just staring at all this stuff. I had masses of the comic books and plenty of conversations, but the one thing you could tell was no one had really any idea where to start. And I did this timeline of the Green Lantern. I got every reference from the very first Green Lantern right up to the contemporary Green Lantern. And what was really fascinating to me was I couldn't see any huge shifts. There was one about 2002. So it had a huge integrity as it stood. So then where do you go? I really sort of feel that we're moving into a different approach. Cellular, you know, like from the inside out. I just loved the idea of this human being arriving in this place called Oa, and these vastly intelligent beings looking at this person and going, well, this is okay, but we need to make him bigger and better. You know, we need to reach into the core of what made the ring select him. We need to go there first and build him outwards from that. Yes, anatomically, but more importantly, aerodynamically.
I just love that it's all about willpower, and the ring itself channels that, and that comes out of him visually too.
Yeah, the suit to me is about life and about light. Sort of almost a life suit that lives beneath even this part of it. And I want to see what, you know, I want to see when the two finally come together.
Well,
I've loved this. I'm loving this.
I mean, the character and the universe is super lucky to have somebody like you on it. It really is. You bring such
I hope so.
It really is. You're going to make so many fans and soon-to-be fans happy with all this stuff. It's awesome.
The role of tracking for creating the Green Lantern suit played a huge part in getting the initial action and motion of the suit.
This is something that we talked about. I remember we had a government agent in there, and I suggested for Donald we use Amanda Waller, because Amanda Waller is one of our great characters, I think, in DC Comics. There's a scene, so they decided to put her in, which is great. Angela Bassett's playing her, which is even cooler. And there's a scene in the movie where Hector Hammond taps into her memories and sees flashes of that, and this is how cool that it is that you are in this movie. What did you do?
It was a great task. I got a call from set, and they said, hey, you know, Amanda Waller's origin. We're going to be shooting some of the stuff, so I was able to pull the panels for Amanda Waller's origin, you know, and basically I sent these down a set and you know, shared them with Martin and Donald and the filmmakers, and she had a really interesting story. You know, her family was killed, and she decided to take matters into her own hands and fight for the cause.
Yeah,
So.
John Ostrander wrote Suicide Squad, great book, creator, one of my favorite writers. Really fun to see the detail that you guys went to, and even on the gravestones. The names
Yeah, I
of
mean,
the
we worked on the gravestones and the names of the kids, and you know, Demita Waller and Joseph Waller, and they really, we really went all out to get all the details right.
It takes 4 hours. So if I go in at 3 in the morning, then I'm ready to shoot at 7 or 8. Oh, yeah. It's stuck to your skin. These are medical grade materials they're using, so it really sticks.
We try to go as thin as possible, which allows for the maximum amount of movement.
The other thing I love that Martin Campbell really brings, and he brought it in Casino Royale and every movie he's done, is
verbal abuse.
Lots of verbal abuse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fun, humorous.
Yeah. What else does he bring?
He also brings a level of brutality.
Yeah.
And it's not I don't think over the top, but just real. And I remember he said to me, one of the first things he said, he was reading the comics. He's like, "Well, I like that Hal can bleed."
Oof.
And I think, and you
That's a tough thing to hear when you're in.
Well, you went through I think through the ringer on a lot of things. You were strung up on wires for the flight. You were beat up, thrown around.
You know, that's what makes it great. You know, that's what we're here for. That's what you train. That's what I've been training for, as of right now, an entire year for this film. And that's what you're here for, and that's, you know, that's something that I love about Martin Campbell. He brings that fast, visceral, ugly kind of action. You know, he likens it to a knife fight in a phone booth, which I think is the most apt description of it you could ever get. It's there's nothing pretty about it, and yeah, Hal bleeds, Hal hurts when Hal is thrown across a room, or in some cases a galaxy. You know, it's not a pleasant feeling. You know, it's not that movie where you get punched in the face, you shrug it off, you know, crack a joke, and then hit the other guy again. It's ugly, and it hurts, and that's important, I think.
Well, it's a level like what Dick Donner brought to Superman, verisimilitude, which we heard at the con. Someone brought that up, and it's bringing reality to everything. So the thing, again, I love about comics is, and this type of adaptation is, the power rings and the Green Lantern Corps is different, but everything else is so grounded. Yeah. Everything else is so real. Yeah. So you really buy into that world, and you're on a journey with Hal.
Yeah, and we start in that world, and I think that you invest in that world, and because of that, it makes the space opera, that epic portion of the film, so much more spectacular and so much more real, and you go along with this journey in such a great way because we've invested in these characters at the beginning, and that's, you know, that's important. I think in our mythology, will is the antithesis of fear, and that's you know, in the core, fear is the most kind of taboo thing. These guys don't feel or express fear ever.
Of course, Hal has this fear. He has a fear inside of him that he won't admit to anybody, and always his way of dealing with it is to simply deny it.
He tries to back out of every decision. He just doesn't want to be there for anybody or even himself. He doesn't even want to live up to his full potential because he's afraid. He's afraid of everything.
Ultimately, when he is chosen to become a Green Lantern, of course, that fear comes to the fore, and he has to overcome it.
The idea that he has inherited this potential to be an amazing human being, and can he deal with it? Because it comes out of a guy who is completely dissolute, isn't being kind to people, doesn't care about anything, and then there is this great responsibility of whether or not he's going to be able to handle it.
He learns to use it. He learns to overcome fear, and that, by the very definition, is courage. And that is what makes Hal the greatest Green Lantern.
Here is a scene where the Guardians desperately are trying to figure out a way to beat Parallax, so they actually try and forge a yellow ring.
I'm playing with a lot of ideas about this because it's quite a hard thing to get your head around, really, like how do you make a ring out of energy like this. So I've got them sort of, from the flares that we've seen before, it's like channeling the flares into like a ring. You can imagine it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until they all together make the crucible in their own hands.
I love that power because to me, in my mind, it feels like, well, this is what they had to do with the green rings too. So it took thousands of years to forge all these green rings and really build the Green Lantern Corps. So this is the Citadel, the Guardian Citadel.
Yeah.
You've got two models here. What's the difference between both these models?
Well, they are the same. It's the same place. These models are being done for scanning purposes. So these will be, like the sculpting of them is like the set design in a way. And these will be computer scanned. and used as, and then coloured and all that sort of stuff, and used as the actual thing that we see on the film. But the smaller one is really intended for wider shots. You know, as they're approaching, flying their way up to what's the highest point, I suppose, in Oa, to have an audience with the Guardians. They fly past this one here, but when they're actually talking to the Guardians themselves, they'll be standing on here, and so this just has greater detail for us, really. So we'll be scanning this as well and using this for all that close-up stuff.
And you kind of use this as an inspiration for a lot of the material.
Yeah, I think it's like the lantern and the battery and all those sorts of things. It's all got this glassiness to us. So we can, when it's backlit, we can sort of see through it like this. Also, it'll have a sort of a darkness to it as well. I think it'll be translucent and dark. And I think right through the middle of here, I think there's going to be a feeling that there's light emanating up from way down below, maybe right down to the battery somewhere, allows a sort of a shaft of light to come up. So as they're standing there, they'll be underlit a little bit by.
I love the kind of broadcasting, the auditorium-like.
It's an auditorium thing, but it's also kind of eroded out with their brain power. I think over the centuries, the millennia, that all the thought they put into doing this has sort of sculpted this kind of.
So like
willpower.
water hitting rock.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And of course, one is
one
throne has been broken off.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The Guardians, although they have similar physical qualities, they all have very different looks. What they do share is a similar skin tone.
Parallax is a big deal, and since it's completely generated, but he interacts with the real world, you've dealt with that a lot before.
Yeah, we did, or we have, but it's also a combination of a few technologies that have been used over the years. As far as he's, distant-wise, he's this huge accumulation of, billions of souls. So far away, he's almost kind of like a standard particle system-y cloud thing, but we don't want it to look like just, standard particles. But as he comes into us and we see him, he's actually, this conglomeration of just thousands of souls and this fabric and tendons and things like that. So it becomes more like a crowd simulation, or what a lot of people have been using as a massive sim, like you've seen on Lord of the Rings. So we're using those technologies to drive the souls themselves. So there'll be all these little meta characters within it, and then you'll have like these different tentacles. So we have to be able to control the tentacles and drive them.
So each character within Parallax, each soul that he's taken is an individual.
Yeah, so you'll start out with more of a procedural sim, but then we're gonna have to be able to art direct each one, like I don't like him, I don't like him, I want him to be doing this or whatnot. So, and then the connective tissue is kind of cloth-based, plus you have a little bit of cloud gassy type, effect. So again, it's a combination of many technologies to get Parallax off the ground.
As the ideas became more refined, It's sort of going to be based around the husks, the spent husks of alien beings that have been consumed by Krona.
All right, Dion, we're on set the last week of shooting.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed talking to you about Green Lantern and everything, and one of my favorite stories is how you took this job and why you took this job.
I was sort of in a position where there was another superhero movie kicking around, so I thought I'd consult with a superhero expert, none other than my 13-year-old nephew, Olan, who, without hesitation, you got to do Green Lantern.
It's great, and he's really excited about it, I'm sure. So how have you approached different characters like Sinestro? Is there any kind of a take or angle you look for him?
With a character like Sinestro, I think it's been important to empower the character. He's a powerful figure in the comics and a powerful figure in the film. So it's embedding that power into the character, and that very much you can do with light in terms of how light hits a face and how you photograph, the angles you photograph a character. It can empower them or diminish them. So. We've from the outset with Martin and with Mark Strong, the actor, we've spoken about, what is strong for the character, what is, with the fact that he has the prosthetic and angles on the face and how he looks at camera, how he looks at other characters.
Yeah, it was interesting. Mark talked a lot about how he's using light and shadow to act, because the prosthetics are covering up so much of his, his brow and some of his face, that he's been using the light and the angles that you've created for him to really show expression.
Yeah, because he has this enlarged brow through the sort of prosthetic and these fantastic contact lenses. We've been working a lot with a top light, which sort of creates the shadow under the eyes. But Mark, being a smart actor, I think he's become quite familiar with the face, the prosthetic. He can look at he understands that face, using gestures to bring light into the eyes, to accentuate moments, to punctuate thoughts or looks. It's great. It's been working well.
To just touch on the scope thing as well, I know we also talked about this as well, but I've never been a part of a franchise or a movie that I could see it going so far beyond just me. Yeah. The Hal Jordan story is a 2 or 3 movie arc. The universe of Green Lantern, the Green Lantern Corps, is so vast that you could really tap it and explore so many different storylines. Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, everything. I mean, Blackest Night, all that stuff is. It's all ready in there for the taking. So, I just feel like I'm the tip of a very big space berg, which is an iceberg in space.
Yeah, those are big.
Yeah, they're very big.
Jupiter big.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we're going to hang on to as much as we can, I think.
I'll take it, sure.
Cool.
Honestly, you always say this after every shoot, that it's always the best crew you've ever worked with. Well, this just happens to be true. It really is. You've all done a fantastic job. It's been a very tough shoot. There's been a lot of technical stuff, but just the endurance and pushing it through, you've all done an absolutely brilliant job. So, my heartfelt thanks to everybody. I'm very proud of you. I've never honestly worked with a crew so talented, so good, and everybody pushing their weight. So thank you very, very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
So one of my favorite scenes, I think, is going to be when all is said and done, is when Sinestro decides to try out this new ring.
Yeah. Well, that's a fantastic bit of the film now. It becomes a very interesting moment when he puts that ring on.
And for you, what's it like what's going through your head when you put that ring on?
What I tried to find in that moment of putting that ring on is a kind of ecstasy that isn't born of the green ring. It's something forbidden. It's something unbelievably powerful but forbidden. And there is a kind of ecstasy in the union of that. So in that moment, that's what I tried to find.
The power behind that is going to be pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so iconic.
Yeah.
You know, so mythological. You know,
What's so ironic is if there is anybody who, if you'd ask them about fear, the presence of fear, and whether fear should be acknowledged and whether fear should be used in any way, if there was anybody who said no, it would be Sinestro. The whole point is fear doesn't exist. We don't do fear, you know. It's suppressed, and of course that's Hal's point. You know, suppressing fear isn't the answer. Overcoming fear is the answer. Yeah, but it's great. It's great. I can't wait to see that transformation.
Yeah, me either. It's going to be interesting too to see like where it progresses next.
Yeah. Yeah.
After
Well,
this.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
We'll see. Over to you.
That's exciting.